Hey, I just did a full analysis on management systems and I simply reverse engineered every major practice management systems, and here's exactly what I found. I spent 200 hours reverse engineering practice management software, and what I discovered will change how you think about practice technology forever. I found passwords hard coded in JavaScript, as you can see right here, and I found database queries taking 15 plus seconds for basic searches, APIs that fail randomly 15% of the time, and all of this might sound a little technological, but I will get deeper into it. But most scary, high security risk and ancient technology. Athena Health, which is a platform, is still running code from 2003. That's why it crashes every Tuesday. And Sessions Health can't even search patient data after you submit forms, which means that you will never really be able to search through extensive data whenever you build a large database. Therapy Notes takes 10 plus seconds to load empty libraries. And if you think your practice software actually works, you need to see what's really happening under the hood. This is a page performance on Therapy Notes, and as you can see, the first render is essentially as bad as it can get. So why am I even doing this? I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to show you the technical truth that lays behind all of these platforms. And every practice management system vendor is truly just lying to you, or at least deceiving you on the real truth. So here's exactly how I did this investigation. I analyzed 9 major platforms across chiropractic, dental, mental health, and natural medicine practices, and I got free trials and demos from Session Health, Therapy Notes, Notero, PracticeQ, Sanda Health, and Captron, and 3 others I couldn't even access. So for each system, I use professional technical analysis tools like Chrome DevTools for code inspection and performance analysis. I used BuildWith for security and vulnerability scanning, and I used network traffic monitoring for API endpoint analysis and even some load testing for performance bottlenecks. So this is a technical analysis on Notero, and we can see the technology profile here, which essentially lays out all the data on what they use, what they are using both to track, to build, to save, to store data, and all of these different things that a software or a platform is essentially built upon. And this isn't opinion, this is technical forensics, and what I found is an industry built on technical lies, just to be completely upfront. Before I show you all the disasters, let me give you the brutal summary. 78% of platforms I tested failed basic modern web development standards, and 44% couldn't even be accessed during my actual investigation. 67% of the systems I could access had critical security or performance issues. So as you can see, this is a executive summary I did on this complete analysis. It's a full report, which I, by the way, will link down in the description. But it says here that I did comprehensive investigation of 9 major practice management systems, and it reveals systemic technical failures. But here's the thing, one platform actually got it right, believe it or not, but I'm not really here to shed bad taste in everyone's mouth. I'm again here to actually showcase the truth, which sometimes is possible that it is positive as well. So Captron demonstrated that modern, secure healthcare software is possible in 2025. So as you can see, very modern looking interface, super easy to navigate. I am not a practitioner by any means, but I knew exactly where I needed to go to actually do things and essentially achieve a day-to-day set of tasks. So this is everything they got right, and this is what modern healthcare software should look like. It's clean, modern interface designed for healthcare professionals, and there was no major security concerns identified during this investigation. It was fast, responsive performance across all tested features. It has intuitive user experiences that reduces training requirements. It uses multiple features accessible with minimal clicks. It has quick execution of common tasks versus competitors. And yeah, just again a quick look here. You can add a new client very quickly, and the tags I found was brilliant because they showcased exactly where this client is in their journey, in your journey together, and potentially even if it's an active or inactive client. So the technical architecture here, without making it too boring, is that modern web development standards is properly implemented. It has reasonable resource loading without excessive JavaScript requests, which is essentially the code language. It has proper security headers and configurations, no excessive tracking or privacy concerns for healthcare use, which is way more than I can say about other platforms we're going to look through. So Cabotron demonstrates that it is possible to build modern, secure, fast practice management software in 2025, which makes every other platform's failures completely inexcusable. They can claim that healthcare software is just hard to build, when Cabotron built it right. The technology exists, most vendors just choose not to use it. So what I'm about to show you isn't just about impossible standards, it's about basic professional competence that the majority of the industry just refuses to implement. So let's go through the 6 technical disasters that I found, and really what I found the patterns in the most. We have the first disaster, which is the platforms that simply didn't work. This is the most fundamental failure possible, and it was 44% of these platforms that I tried to investigate that couldn't even be accessed. And mind you, I was accessing the free trial, but it was a free trial that was accessible for the public, so nothing should interfere with actually accessing this type of material. So as you can see here on the image, that PracticePal, a UK-based system for alternative medicine clinics, had complete system failure. I couldn't even get past the login page. There came an error that says there was an error trying to send your message. Please try again later. And I tried again later multiple times. Simple Practice claims to serve 225,000 plus users as the #1 platform, but I couldn't access the system for new user registration. So this isn't really a minor bug here. This is simply infrastructure so broken that basic functionality fails, at least for me. Think about this. These companies are taking monthly fees from practices while their systems don't even boot up in the first place. Now, disaster 2 is also a big one. I'm calling it the 2003 time machine, and this is really where we see old technology just shine bright. So Therapy Notes, which serves 60,000 plus mental health practitioners, is what I'm going to focus most on here. The interface looks like it was designed in 2003 because it probably was. As you can see here, it has a very old looking interface, which is not ideal both for looks, I mean that is personal preference, but also for quick access, ease of use, training requirements, all these different things that play a role in your practice operational efficiency. So it takes 10 plus seconds just to load empty libraries. I timed it multiple times. But here's the technical nightmare behind it. I saw 90 external JavaScript requests per page, and the industry average is 55. As you can see right here on the screenshot, 90 requests, the average is 55, so way below average. They're using require.js, which is an abandoned JavaScript module. And remember, JavaScript is the coding language, not to confuse you. And modern developers simply just abandoned this years ago. It uses ES6 Promise polyfill, which means they're supporting browsers so old that they are dangerous to use. This should be illegal to use nowadays. And here's the potential HIPAA violation. It has an extensive tracking stack, including Facebook Pixel, Google Analytics, and double-click advertising on a mental health platform. And this is a screenshot showcasing that. And of course, this might not be a problem, but it can interfere and become a huge problem for your clients with their data getting leaked, and for you with huge fines because of a HIPAA violation. And patients' mental health data potentially could be shared with these advertising networks. And of course, that's not just bad architecture. That's potentially illegal for you and even the software. So the third disaster is the Internet Explorer disaster. And this is what I found with PracticeQ, which supports Internet Explorer 6 to 8 in 2025. And let me just quickly explain why this is insane. Internet Explorer 6 was released in 2001, which is the Windows XP era. And Internet Explorer 8 was released in 2009, which is Obama's first term, if you can remember back to that date. And these browsers have known unpatched security vulnerabilities that hackers just actively exploit if they want to. But PracticeQ loads HTML5shiv, which is very technical, and you don't really need to understand it, but I'm going to explain it just a fair bit. And respond.js. It also used legacy polyfills specifically for IE 6 to 8 support, which is also what we saw further up. So why is this actually important? First of all, whenever we see all of these technical terms, it means that it's supporting dead browsers that limits modern security features. It has unpatched security vulnerabilities, and it massively increases attack surface. When you look at moment.js, which PracticeQ also uses, it is an officially deprecated library. And if you look at Modernizer, it indicates very old browser support priorities, which is not a great sign whenever you are an actual platform that deals with sensitive data. And any practice using this software is essentially leaving their front door open to cyber criminals. Sounds insane, but that's the truth. And the tracking situation is even worse here. It uses Google Analytics, Universal Analytics, GA4, AdWords, conversion tracking, remarketing, Facebook Pixel, signal conversion, custom audiences, SDK, Microsoft Clarity, LinkedIn ads, Yahoo tracking, ad row retargeting, multiple HubSpot tracking tools. This is insane. It's way too extensive for a practice platform like this with sensitive data. And this is the most extreme tracking overload that I discovered in this analysis. And again, this is for healthcare softwares. It's not something else. It's sensitive data with a lot of clients and a ton of data usually within these softwares. But let's just jump straight to disaster 4, which is the search that doesn't search. This is something that I found quite funny, but also very tragic, that a big platform can have search features that simply doesn't necessarily work that well. When you look at Sessions Health that offers unlimited free access until you have 4 clients, that sounds generous, right? Until you actually try to use it. You can't search patient data after submitting forms, and you can't even filter clients beyond basic active/inactive status, as you can see right here. That's the only filter you can do. So it also has no API availability at all, which means that it has a complete data login. API is a technical term, but it just means that that is what is used to talk with other softwares. So this means that you can't talk with any other system, any other software, and you can't integrate anything. So it really locked in with their features. The technical disaster runs deeper though, and this is where again it's kind of getting tragic, but also a little bit exciting because of me nerding out a little bit. So it uses document write JavaScript, which is an ancient language code. It's blocking technique that affects 41% of sites and is considered bad practice by every modern web developer. So they're using a language model that is super ancient and is simply considered bad practice by every modern web developer. It also uses jQuery from April 2019, not that old, not ancient, but it's still missing 5+ years of security patches that has been done throughout those 5 years. It uses Bootstrap 4.0 with known unpatched security vulnerabilities, and they're even using deprecated protection headers that actually can create vulnerabilities instead of preventing them. So modern browsers rely on content security policy instead, but Sessions Health is simply stuck in 2015, which is a century ago if you speak in technology language. So let's just jump straight to disaster 5, where we have the tracking monsters. We've been a little bit into this, but I want to get a little bit deeper into it because this can raise huge security vulnerabilities for you and your clients, and it can lead to huge fines for you. So Notero, used by chiropractors, massage therapists, and physiotherapists, they're running 2 different versions of jQuery simultaneously. They're running jQuery 3.5.1 and 3.7.1 at the same time. Again, very technical, let me explain. This causes the JavaScript, the actual coding language, to conflict with itself, which increases load times and security vulnerabilities from the older version. But the real disaster is the tracking overload. Again, I'm not going to read all of them, but you can pause it and read them. This level of third-party tracking on a healthcare platform raises serious HIPAA compliance questions. Again, it doesn't have to be, but it just raises serious questions about it, which you need to take very, very serious. Every time a practitioner logs in, patient data context is potentially being shared with advertising networks. This is likely not happening, but it could be happening, and this will lead to huge fines for you. So, without going too deep into this, let's just jump straight to the 6th disaster, which is the WordPress healthcare disaster. This is something that I noticed on Sander Health, which serves naturopaths, mental health practitioners, and allied health professionals across Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, and South Africa, and even across Europe as well. First of all, I got a 403 forbidden error during my investigation. This is the same access control issues that I did get on Therapy Notes as well, which I haven't mentioned, but I did get it on Therapy Notes as well. But when I analyzed their infrastructure, I found something worse. They're running a WordPress CMS for healthcare data management, and this sounds super complicated. Just know you shouldn't really do that. That's not the best way of going about it. WordPress with multiple plugins, Yoast SEO, SiteGround Optimizer, WP Multilang, and each plugin increases the attack surface to actually go in and infiltrate as a cyber criminal. WordPress requires constant security updates, and the plugin vulnerabilities are common attack vectors for these people. But here's the critical security failure, why I actually am including this. I found a DMARC none policy. And just to explain it super quickly, this provides 0 email security protection, no protection against email spoofing or phishing, and it only does reporting, but no blocking of malicious emails. So for a healthcare platform handling sensitive patient communications, this is a critical security gap in my opinion, and something that needs to be taken super serious by either them or you as a client. So let's jump straight to the industry-wide patterns after looking at the 6 disasters that I pointed out. After analyzing all these systems, I saw clear patterns emerge, and I made a beautiful chart. I actually can showcase you guys this. And first of all, you can see a ton of orange and red, which is not ideal, but you can also see Cabotron down here, which is essentially in all green. So let me just go back to the zoom here. Whenever you see legacy technology epidemics like this, where all of the things are in red and it's simply just not acceptable, you see jQuery versions from 2019 to 2020 across multiple platforms, and you even see Bootstrap 4.x with known security vulnerabilities. Again, a little bit technical here, but we also just did talk about it further up. It's not ancient in terms of the actual year, but it's still 5 years behind with, again, rolling updates on security updates and everything which needed to be accounted for. And it also uses deprecated JavaScript libraries like Moment and Require.js. Internet Explorer 6 to 8 support in 2025. Remember, these dropped in 2001 and 2009, I believe. I can't remember when 8 actually dropped. It also raises security architecture failures. Most platforms lack proper APIs for integration. Again, APIs being what softwares actually use to talk to each other. Weak email security with DMARC failures, extensive tracking on HIPAA regulated platforms, and deprecated security headers that just create more vulnerabilities than it had in the first place. And this is not to mention the performance disasters that we did see, with 10+ second load times for basic operations, 90+ JavaScript requests per page, and multiple jQuery versions that just cause conflicts. And lastly, what I want to go over after looking through this chart and what we talked about as well, you can see a 44% of tested platforms had login/access failures. You saw 403 forbidden errors across multiple systems, and you saw server configuration problems preventing basic usage. So what does all of this mean? This isn't isolated problems. This is systematic industry failure. And let's just go straight to the financial reality here. I want to show you what these technical disasters actually cost practices. And this is a very realistic overhaul. It is a medium-sized practice to a large-sized practice that would see those types of numbers, but it's very realistic. First of all, you see lost productivity. That will add $45,000 because of load times and just simply bad platforms. Whenever you have no search functionality, so you need to go manual hunting, that will add $15,000 in hours. You'll get complex interfaces which needed extended training, which is $8,000. System crashes, which leads to appointment disruptions, and ultimately $7,000 in loss. So the annual productivity loss is $75,000. $75,000 a year to run a platform that is not acceptable. Then we come to the security and compliance risks, and this is really where the money is being paid or the money is being lost, but potentially also where you get actual legal problems. So if you get a HIPAA violation, the average fine is $137,000, again depending on scale of business and also how big the violation is. The data breach response costs is $25,000, legal fees and compliance audits $15,000, and reputation damage, which leads to patient loss, is equivalent to $30,000 a year. This is $207,000 a year potential security risks. And whenever you go into vendor login disasters where you simply can't integrate and actually unlock the full opportunity of your clinic, you see failed integration attempts per connection, which is $12,000. This is not unrealistic. You see custom development workarounds, $25,000. Data migration costs when actually escaping these types of platforms can be $15,000. And system replacement projects can be $60,000. So this can even go up to $112 total login costs if you actually choose to stay, which is up here whenever you then get a lot of bad connections, or if you choose to leave and actually try to see and find something else for you. So what does all of this mean? This means that you need to take this very, very serious. You need to make a technical and a logical assessment of what you're actually using right now, and if it's worth it for you to switch looking at these types of numbers. And I even just included a little bit of a review from my last YouTube video where I went through the complete scam of some of those things we just walked through. This is a guy that uses Open Dental, and he very, very intriguingly noted right here, what problems is Open Dental solving and how is that benefiting you? 21 patients cancelled yesterday after Larry B assisted. Last month we lost $200,000 because of this after an update in March. These guys are screaming for help, and they're clearly not getting the right type of help because they're losing clients on a daily basis. So again, these aren't theoretical problems. Practices are losing tens of thousands of dollars annually because of these technical failures, and the vendors know it. They profit from complexity, dependency, and lock-in. So what should a modern healthcare software solution look like? Remember Carepatron, the one platform that got it right? Down here, all green. Here's what they did that other platforms refused to. Modern coding language instead of ancient coding language. Current security standards without deprecated headers, meaning they are actually secure in their software. Fast responsive performance. Intuitive interface so it's super easy to navigate even as a newbie. No excessive tracking or privacy violations, and proper security configurations. What modern healthcare software requires is these type of things. I don't want to get through them, very technical, but you will be able to look through some of these with some solutions, AI solutions, or just chatting and you doing kind of my approach, which is using build with and actually getting to understand how these softwares are built. So what I'm trying to say here is that the technology exists, the standards exist, the security framework exists, and Carepatron proves it's possible to build modern, secure, fast healthcare software in 2025, and every other platform failures is simply a choice, not a limitation. So the brutal truth here, here's what the practice management software industry doesn't want you to know. They profit from your technical ignorance. Every broken integration that costs you $10,000 to fix, that's planned. That's $10,000 in their pocket. Every security vulnerability that exposes your practice to liability is at least known, not necessarily planned, but at least known. And every 10-second load time that destroys your productivity might even be intentional. So they spend their money on marketing and sales, not on engineering your platform that you use every day. So why build modern, secure software when you can lock practices into broken systems with multi-year contracts? And this is what I see a lot of in the reviews that I analyzed in my last YouTube video. So 78% of the platforms that I tested failed basic web development standard that first-year computer science students learn. This isn't about building rocket ships. This is about basic professional competence. And they're charging enterprise prices for 2003 era technology with 2025 security vulnerabilities. This is not a great cocktail, by the way. Now, let's just quickly go through what you can actually do about this. So, what do you actually go ahead with this information and how can you actually do something about it? First, you need to audit your current software using the tools that I showed you. Use build with to inspect your system's code. And the easiest way is to copy your URL in on build with. It has like a search query, and send all the data to ChatGPT for a quick assessment. Just say, I got this technology data, can you help me look through it and what points out? Second, demand better. Simply demand better. Ask your vendors about their API documentation. Not that you know anything about it, but they should be able to help you with this. Request security audit reports. Test mobile responsiveness yourself, so it isn't your clients that need to tell you. time your common workflows so it isn't your client that need to tell you this. And third, know the red flags. If you have 10+ second load times for basic operations, that's not great. If you have no API access for integrations, that's not great. If you have extensive tracking on healthcare platforms, that's not great. If you have support for Internet Explorer, at least the old ones, that's not great. If you have jQuery versions older than 3.7.1 or 0, that's not great. And if you have Bootstrap versions older than 5.0, that's not great. Fourth, recognize quality when you see it. Cabotron proves modern healthcare software is possible. And just a quick and very, very important disclaimer here, by the way. I don't know anyone in Cabotron. I don't know the software, the platform. I simply signed up for a free trial and actually investigated a little bit. I'm not affiliated, I don't know anything about them, but I'm giving the flowers because they're doing a good job. It's fast, secure, and compliant systems that actually exist, and they prove it, and you don't have to accept broken technology. The practice management software industry has been getting away with technical fraud for decades, but now you know the truth. The question is, what are you actually going to do about this? In my opinion, you have three options. 2 good ones and 1 bad one. Let's start with the bad one. Test your EHR or just your system. Find out that it's shit and just stay with them. That's the bad one. The first good one is to find a new EHR that actually wants you good and not just wants your money. That's the good option. Now let's go for the best option in my opinion, because I see where the trends are going in this industry. Go for a complete tailored solution done through modern methods and utilizing AI. Not to bring your assistants a new job or delete your assistant's job, not to do any AI stuff, but simply to build these systems with AI so you can use your own tailored to your clinic or just practice in general. This is a complete EHR private to your practice, and in my opinion, it's the best option. It's usually around these prices as well, but you get completely control over everything. You can also take a quick look at the end of my last video where I go a little bit deeper on how this actually works and why you should look into it as an opportunity. So what I want you to do now is comment below with your software horror stories, because this is the second video that I'm doing about this, but it's not done. I'm going to keep investigating, keep getting these types of stories out so you actually know the truth about it. And I'm going to bring you solutions every time so you know exactly the action steps that you can take to get out of the rat hole that you've dug yourself. And even maybe share it with a fellow practitioner who need to see this technical reality so they can get out of the hole that they dug themselves. And remember, you don't have to accept broken system just because that's how healthcare software works. It isn't. You can do better. Modern alternatives exist, demand them, or even better, seek them yourself. Now, this is everything for this video. I'm going to link this complete Notion down in the description, as well as my, as well as my actual report that I did on this analysis. I'm going to link both of them in the description so you can take a deeper look at my analysis, but also potentially do something yourself. And again, I would take a deep, hard look into your own systems and see if you actually can do better.